Now let's do question 5. Question 5 states that in an experiment, 1.20 grams of charcoal reacts with 6.414 grams of powdered sulfur. Predict the mass of the carbon disulfide formed if there are no other products. Okay, so we're given 1.201 grams of charcoal, in this case carbon, and 6.414 grams of sulfur. And we want to find the mass of carbon disulfide. Now, we have two different masses of reactants. This is what's called a limiting reactant problem. So Jason, what is a limiting reactant problem? I'm glad you asked. So here's an analogy. Suppose I'm making cookies, and there's a recipe that calls for 1 cup of flour and 2 cups of sugar. And I can make one batch of cookie with 1 cup of flour and 2 cups of sugar. Now let's say that I have 2 cups of flour and 10 cups of sugar. How many batches can I make? Well, I can only make 2 because I only have 2 cups of flour. So in other words, the amount of flour I have determines how many batches of cookies I make because that is my limiting resource. That's what's going on in chemistry, guys. So whenever you have 2 different amounts of reactants, the reactant that runs out first is your limiting reactant. And that is what determines how much of a product you can make.
Learning Resource
So let's see what happens here. So I have 1.021 grams of C, and I can say for every 12.01 grams of C, there's 1 mole of C, times then for every 1 mole of C, there is 1 mole of CS2. And then I can say for every 1 mole of CS2, there is approximately around 76.14 grams of CS2. Now, if I do the math, I will find out that I make here around 7.61 grams of CS2. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do the exact same thing, but this time using the amount of sulfur. So, 6.414 grams of sulfur times, we do the exact same thing, 32.0 grams of sulfur for every 1 mole of S. And what I'm doing now is I'm just converting this into moles of sulfur. For every 2 moles of sulfur, there's 1 mole of CS2. And for every 1 mole of CS2, there's 76.14 grams. And this should give me a grand total of 7.61 grams. Okay. I'm just kidding, guys. So I'm not confused, I'm not shocked. So I bet a lot of you are, though. You're saying, well, both of them are the same values. What does this mean? What this means is that both the charcoal and the sulfur will run out at the same time approximately. So you will both make around 7.61 grams. So in other words, there is no limiting reactant for this problem. Now let's say, hypothetically, that we made here 10.61 grams of carbon disulfide with the sulfur. That would mean that my limiting reactant was the charcoal, and I can only make 7.61 grams of CS2. This is your theoretical yield, and this unit or this product amount does not matter anymore, because this is the amount that matters, because this is how much you can only make because you have a limiting reactant of charcoal. Well, either way, the answer is 7.61, and you have your answer.